Hello to my human family. I have on somebody I don't know that well, so I'm not entirely sure what to do for an introduction. Other than we've had interactions on Facebook, and they've been very nice, and I'm really glad to meet camera face to camera face as it goes nowadays. Um, I just found out that she's baby trans, so we're going to talk that a little bit. And other than that, I'll just introduce because getting into it is better than me telling you about it. Um, Meet Ella. Hello, Ella.
Hello.
um, you came out not long ago. Uh, you yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in my journal, but I started counseling in April. And I've already started HRT, so I've been on it for like 2 months now. So, and however many months that is, I've come pretty far.
Yeah. The Yeah, I had to the insurance I have made me do 6 months of living as, so I don't a lot of people don't or have something like that as their thing. Um I take it you live in a informed consent area or
What do you mean informed consent?
there's the two different types where you have to get doctor's letters to go on HRT
Oh
or
yeah, I had to get a counselor.
okay.
Yeah.
So I tend not to ask people where they live unless they volunteer it. So
Uh, I'll tell you what state I live in if you want to know.
sure. I mean, I'm in Buffalo, New York. I'm not shy about it. So.
Yeah, I live in the Birmingham area, Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay, so you get it from the people in Birmingham. I've met that it's rough to get on HRT down there. Yeah.
Well, so what it is there's not a lot of like if you were to just let's say you had no connections and you didn't go to any support groups and you tried to do it solo and you just went to doctors, it's probably not going to work very well for you. But what I did was so I went to first I started with asking my counselor for like any support groups. And then I went to places like trans support groups and stuff like that. And then if you do that first, you'll notice there's a lot of little hospitals and stuff that are half charities, half hospitals, which is where I go. I'm sure they won't mind if they get some press. I go to a place it's called Birmingham's AIDS something. It's got AIDS in the title, but it's for just the LGBTQ community in general.
Yes.
And they have a doctor, and there's like this $60 fee flat rate no matter what you're doing, regardless of whether you have insurance or not, you know, all this stuff. And it's right in Birmingham, so you don't have to like travel to Huntsville or something to do it.
What? I mean, that's good. Hey, you did the smart way. I suppose being LGBT in Alabama, I mean, Birmingham's a little bit more left than the rest of the state, but Buffalo's conservative, and we're blue as blue can be. So,
Yeah, no, we're not blue. um, there actually are a lot of I think there's a lot of progressives and Democrats in Alabama. It's just we got to get them to be vocal about it so people don't have that I think Alabama's more purple than it's given credit for.
Yeah, I think the whole country is. I think one of the coming. Hmm, how do I put this? Coming out in Buffalo, which is a very trans friendly area.
Yeah.
I mean, very. Um, there's, as I understand it, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong on this, but there's sort of a underground trans road, which more or less ends here.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of services for transplanted trans youth, especially
Right.
here. Um, One of the things that, I mean, getting more people in the southern conservative areas to getting more people like we're recruiting, but letting more people come out in the conservative areas is the goal,
Mm,
you know.
yeah.
So
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm 35 right now, so but so for 35 years, I'd always identified as a like transvestite or whatever.
yeah,
Um, but basically for 35 years, I was too afraid to even tell some people I was a transvestite, much less anything else. So just the exploration of being trans is uh, slowed down in places like Alabama because just some of the basic stuff of like you have to present before you can get on HRT and stuff. That's a huge milestone in Alabama. Like
yeah.
that first step outside and you don't know what's going to happen. Like that's a much bigger deal in some places than it is in other places.
It's yeah. I mean, you've got the best I've done is I've been to Alabama, and I'm okay with having been, and that shall be it for me. Unless I have to do a rescue, in which case I will be in the car. I've been, in 2 seconds. Um, the yeah, we have a rescue trans in the house.
Really?
Yes, from Virginia. So,
Ah, well,
the no, go.
uh, I'm not gonna lie. I was for the first few months when I decided that I was gonna pursue go being completely, when I decided in my head that I was trans, because that's when it matters.
Yeah,
Uh, I, I thought about finding a way to get out of Alabama. Um, I've kind of settled down on that, and I kind of want to like stay because I have friends here, and I want to try to make Alabama a more inclusive place, and I'm willing to fight for that. But initially, it was tempting to just move somewhere else.
yeah, it would be. You there are trans groups there though, right? I mean,
uh,
yeah,
yeah, um, yeah. So that place I go to with the doctor and all that stuff, they have a trans support group. Um, I'm in a Facebook group for queer women in the Birmingham area. We get together and do stuff all the time, and they're very inclusive of trans women and even trans men. Um,
yeah,
you got to look it out. You got to search for it though. It's not like if you Google search for LGBT groups or trans groups in Alabama, you might get one or two hits, but there's a lot of stuff out there that isn't going to pop up on Google. If you know what I mean?
so sort of like below the radar.
Yeah.
It's um what why do you think that? Just, I mean, not much of a question, but why do you think that the areas, especially in the southeast, are still a little weird about any kind of LGBTQ identity?
Okay, so on that, I am an atheist, so I do not particularly like. Atheist doesn't mean you don't like religion, but in my case, I have a particular disdain for religion.
Yeah,
That out there. Um, I do think that even if you're not a fundamentalist, because not every a lot of people aren't fundamentalist Christians and stuff, but even if you're not, I think that ideology, that black and whiteness of it, bleeds into people who maybe don't go to a fundamentalist Christian church, but their grandma did, or their cousin does, or their brother does, and they hear that, and they hear that from three other people, and that's all they ever hear, and they just default to that. And then when they meet a person like a real LGBTQ person and have a real conversation with them, I've noticed they tend to soften up on that a little bit. But I think a lot of it is just almost all their exposure is to the what I consider the bad side of the the public and the opinions on LGBTQ people, and the good side is afraid to come out and talk to people. That's kind of what I think.
yeah, I would, and it's scary to be trans anywhere. I mean, just mentally in your own head, or well, I can speak for myself. I can't speak for other people, but it was scary in my own head to be trans, and being in an inclusive area is still hard. I mean, but I, I mean, I came out on stage, so somebody knew that I was coming out and asked me to do a show and come out on stage. I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
the but I can't picture doing that there.
Uh, hmm, I would do it now. Would I have done it when I first came out? Probably not.
um well, yeah, even people here I tell that, they go, yeah, oh, that's strange. Did you tell your parents first? Nope. No.
Oh no, no, absolutely not. I was going to get all my ducks in a row before we did that.
um how public, I mean, how out are you? I don't really know how to phrase this question.
I think I know what you're talking about. I don't live in the same town as my parents,
Yeah.
so they live somewhere else. Um, so when I came out, I told all my friends immediately, because if they didn't accept it, then they weren't my friends anyway. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not out at work yet, mainly just because inconvenience. Like my name's not officially changed, so I didn't feel like going into all the "can you please change it? It's not legal." I'll just wait till it's legal. Um, that's just work. The only place I'm not out right now is work, because I just told my parents like 2 weeks ago. Um, everybody in Birmingham, though, I present female all the time. I don't. I tell people not to call me sir. I don't. I'm not shy about it. You know.
Yeah. That that is, to me, weirdly enough, that was the scariest thing. It was the first time I had to say not sir, you know.
Yeah. I felt like I was being rude or something, but at the same time, I was like, it's been 35 years. I don't. you just don't call me anything if you have to do that. Just
Yeah.
say, here's your tea, and be done with the sentence.
um, how'd your parents do with it?
My mother took it better than I knew she wasn't going to like disown me or anything because she's my mom.
Yeah.
But she took it better than I thought. She even gave me a middle name, which was really awesome. I was hoping she was going to do that.
Oh,
Um, we cried and stuff. Uh, she said, she sort of always knew, typical. I'm sure most people can, if they've been through what we've been through, probably had that happen. Um,
yeah.
my dad is more, I didn't, she told him when she went back home. I have no idea how he thinks about it. I've called him since, and we've just talked about fixing my car and stuff. He hasn't used any pronouns. He hasn't said my old name or my new name. He just kind of avoids it. My extended family, I have no idea, but I wasn't invited to Christmas this year because my mom didn't think that I should push my beliefs on the family.
Uh, I yeah. Hmm. My the thing with the pronouns, I this is something I have found from a lot of people is the parents going out of the way not to use pronouns. Taking the sentence and massaging it so pronouns never come up. My mom did this when she was here because she didn't really believe me until she saw me in a dress.
I
uh,
think I think that's my next step is maybe next year. Give them a year. I'm just gonna come down in the most girliest thing I can find and go like deal with it.
yeah, that's it. I don't even wear dresses normally. I have two. I own two. um, but yeah, but she kept not using the pronouns, and I'm like, just give me one she before you leave, and she couldn't do it. But she stopped at the first gas station. And she the first gas station she stopped at had key rings, and so she sent me a Christie key ring.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like, she said, "Did you get it? Did you get it? Yes, I got it. I understand." so, so
Yeah, yeah. I was really excited that my mom gave me a middle name. I did not know she was going to do that.
what what she is it okay to ask what she went with?
Yeah, yeah. It's Ella Grace.
Cool. Um, did she say why?
It's my grandmother's name.
Oh, that's sweet. My mom gave me the Lanza, which is my father's um the um female version of my father's first name, which
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Alonzo.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my dad's name is Robert, and I really don't like the name Roberta. So.
Yeah, it's always Bobby. the how pick how people pick their names is one of the odder things too. I'm running into, I'm dealing with a lot of trans people, and I ask all sorts of questions all the time because I'm curious about everybody's thing.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of people, that's intrusive asking how you picked your name. Oh, okay. You don't have to answer.
Nah, That was actually the weirdest part to me. Like everything else was completely natural. I was just like, I've known it for 35 years. It just fit like a glove, and I wouldn't go back. And, as soon as it hit me, I was like, never going back to the old way.
Yeah,
But when I had to pick a new name, I was like, how the hell do you pick your own name? Like, it's weird. This is
yeah, it's um. I mean, I was already Chris, so it was not that difficult. But I discussed it with somebody else named Christy, spelled differently. I
i.e.
actually, yes. Um, um, yeah, Christy Winters, and I'm like so scared of everything when I came out, um, that I asked her permission to use the name. It's like that is kind of strange, but it's it's still a lot of people will get it.
Yeah.
So,
uh so what?
um, what, where did it all come from? Where did you?
Well, I like only like a few names. I like the name Sarah, but I knew like 8,000 Sarahs,
Yeah,
so we'll do that. I like the name Lauren, and now my brain is slipping. The actress, she's Ellen, not Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen, she's a lesbian. She came out like 7 years
Ellen
ago. She was
Page.
at Ellen Page. Ellen Page is like one of my favorite actresses. So I was like,
Yes.
oh, Ellen's a cool name. So I kind of took all the forms of Ellen and sent them in a text to my friend. It's like I was like, Ellen, Ellie, something along those lines, right? And then she came back with Ella. So I just went with Ella because it like I had given her like a parameter, and then I felt like somebody else had named me, and it wasn't like you know me just randomly picking a name.
Well, yeah. Um, well, yeah. There's the singer Laura Jane Grace, who said her mother had always said if she'd been a girl, she would have been named Laura. So,
I think I put Laura in that text message too. She does not take that one.
well, yeah, the first, yeah, the first song, one of the first songs I performed after coming out was True Trans So Rebel, because it's our theme song. It's,
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know how familiar. I don't even know what did you're. I know a bit about your politics, but because we've had online, and like I said, I'm in my 50s. Y'all are catching up to me now on my leftist ways. um, you have a degree. You were going to go into teaching. What's the what are you looking for how you what you're doing?
so yeah, basically, this is. I mean, if anybody's watching this, this will be a good story to let you know what kind of how terrible it is for the way people treat us. I
Yeah.
recently got a master's in education in December from the University of Montevallo, which is awesome, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, it's going to be a history teacher. I love history. I still want to be a history teacher, but because of the atmosphere in society that people that, and this might sound mean, but it's reality, people that ignore the problem because it doesn't affect them have created. I don't feel comfortable being in the public school system transitioning. Now, if I was like 2 years into my transition, I'd probably fight it. I probably wouldn't have too big of a deal with it. But I don't feel comfortable in a mentally to transition and fight the public school system at the same time. So I basically can't look for that job. So I'm looking for nonprofits, just any kind of job I can do to wait till I feel comfortable fighting the system, basically.
The well, you've got you've got the history degree, so you know that that's the only way anything gets changed, right?
Yep. And I'm really the only thing that held me back. It wasn't the other teachers. Honestly, I'll tell them to their face that they're wrong.
Yeah.
And the principals too. I don't care. It was I didn't really want to. I didn't know how HRT worked, and the idea of going through puberty again in front of a bunch of high schoolers didn't appeal to me. So it was like, even if I got the job, somehow fought the system, got the job relatively quickly, I would still be standing in front of a bunch of high schoolers halfway through
At least puberty is turned on overdrive. And I'm sure you've noticed this by now.
but it's I mean, it's okay. I've been getting involved with political groups, way more active than I've ever been, and I'm super excited about it. Considering even running for office next year. So maybe I won't be the teacher for a while. Maybe I might even run for an office. I don't know. So I've been I've been a lot more motivated than before. So it's not all bad.
It's yeah, doing the activist thing is that's what I wish I could do more of it, you know, but I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah.
Because people need it. Uh, um, the well, you're. I'm trying to figure again. This is I'm trying to work questions in a certain way, and I should just not worry about it and flub through them. um, the running for what are the chances you'd obviously be running as a Democrat? Uh,
Yes.
the what are the chances of getting into office as a Democrat in your area? I mean, you're slightly blue there, but not.
So if somebody came up to me and asked me if I wanted to run, like they wanted to support me and run for a higher office, I wouldn't tell them no, obviously. But
Yeah,
as far as outside of that happening, I'm thinking like board of education, city
yeah.
council, and then kind of doing like that.
I was going to say, school board seems to be a really seems to be a good place that no one ever thinks of running for.
Yeah, and I'm next time the that cycle comes up, I'm if I haven't started something else, I'm definitely gonna do the board of education.
I can't. Yeah, the we had yeah. I don't actually know who my board member. I mean, I'm really plugged into politics, but the board member that I knew from this area has moved on to Albany.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who the new one is.
Um, well, one thing I did do that still kind of, I'm honestly still processing this. I mean, it's a big deal to me. I don't know, it may not be a big deal to other people, but so you know how in every state there's a some people I didn't know this. There's a Democratic Executive Committee, right?
Right.
And they decide where the funds go that the DNC sends down to each state. And you can like it's the thing where you go on the floor and you go, I set a motion, the ayes have it, this motion is passed, that kind of thing. Uh, I was encouraged to attend that because they've been trying they wanted to diversify Alabama's Democratic Party because it was a bunch of white people,
No.
white straight people. So they started a movement. They got a diversity caucus going. So you don't represent a district, you represent just your group, right? And so I got voted onto that. And unless I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure I'm the first trans woman to ever be on that committee in Alabama.
Probably. I'm. I don't know about the executive committees. I know people who are elected to offices. So
Yeah, I know the offices are different, but and there's also there's two trans people, a trans man and a trans woman. Pretty sure that's the first time that's ever happened in Alabama.
well, it's sweet, and it should happen more. I mean, there. What do I say? I'm. There should be more redheaded trans people, is what there should be. 2% of 2%. I'm definitely a unicorn. Although, since my kid, I'm in the strange position of being a trans parent of a trans kid.
Oh, fun.
So two redheads. Uh, the that's a very long story. The kid came out first. I always have to say, just because
Oh yeah, I know that people would automatically, oh, you did, you influenced them.
Yeah, no, I didn't. The kid coming out finally made me to go, oh fuck it, is one of the.
Because that's what we spend our lives doing, trying to make everybody else trans. I don't care what you do. Anybody out there listening, we don't care what you do. We're mainly worried about our transit.
Yes, just let us pee and we're fine. It's the saddest part is spironolactone is a diuretic, and so people not letting us pee is actually
Is that why I've
really
been having to use the bathroom more?
yes it is. It will calm down fairly quickly, but with it you're only a couple months in. It'll about
Yeah.
4 months or so. It seems to calm down. Yes, I asked people this shit too. So I wanted to know everything. I came out suddenly, but then I had to find out everything about being trans.
I had a little jump start on that because I had been Googling. Okay, so I'm a 90s kid.
Yeah.
So when we Google things, the word transgender wasn't a word. So I would have put transsexual in there because people were assholes back then. Uh, but I would Google stuff like that pretty much my whole life. So I kind of knew something about it. Not details, but enough, you know.
I was surprised at how many YouTube videos I had. What do you call bookmarked, um, and how many documentaries I had sitting in a folder, on a drive, in a subfolder of a subfolder of a drive I never go on to.
Well, I know one of the biggest issues I had within the trans community, the trans community that's on film anyway, not like the actual people in
Right.
person, but on YouTube, like was watching all the trans videos trying to figure out if I was trans or not. And it was always like the really pretty young blonde girl telling you how she played with Barbies when she was a kid. And
Yeah.
I was like, you need to stop perpetrating this myth. Like that is not even how a majority of trans people experience it. Like
No,
there needs to
although
be less of those videos.
when my sister stole my Barbies, I was very upset. I did. So,
I mean, it's it's all unique, but like the way they emphasize certain stuff on some of those videos, it's like that's not the main part. That's you shouldn't be emphasizing that. That it creates a false narrative for people who don't understand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is true. It's not. eh, it's not what we do with our gender. It's how our gender is in our heads, mostly.
Yeah, yeah.
How we experience gender. Um, One of the frustrating things I found is, especially with the turf talking points, is the male trans exclusionary radical feminists. If anybody's
Yeah.
coming across me for the first time, the you had male socialization, and I'm like, I do not know a trans person who had trans woman who had male socialization. We had very, very confusing socialization.
Yeah. I remember. They tried to socialize me as what they consider a male, but I never liked it, and I've always hated masculinity and the culture around it in general.
Yeah, one of the things I did, I mean, I don't know if you did I tried the alcoholism route because that seemed to be a good idea. Anything to
Uh,
get
no, I didn't do that.
and
I
I
would honestly say I use video games as my crutch. I just kind of played video games with everybody, and now that I'm who I want to be, I barely touch the things.
yeah, it's weird. What do you um well, I also tried the being toxically masculine, which
Ooh,
that didn't really work either.
yeah, no.
You know,
I
the
I've heard
the
of that though.
yeah, the whole play. You know,
Yeah, the what is that called? I'm a sociology nerd, so oh
performative identity.
yeah, yeah, performing your gender, performing your role in society.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's there seems to also be like three places where people come out, which is either fairly young, like 18 to 21, mid
Yes.
30s, and then late 40s, early 50s. So it's like you don't have those in between places. You have one or two.
I do know. I know that because you said something earlier. You said that there's a lot of programs for youth, and I kind of wanted to get back to that. That's
Yeah,
a major problem within the support community anywhere, as far as I can tell, where they have hyper focus on trans youth, gay youth, lesbian youth.
yeah,
Uh, hey, there are people that come out after they're 25. You know that, right? Like, they need programs too.
yeah. The As I understand it, the normal age is somewhere between 30 and 35.
That sounds about right. So it's like a medium between the two extremes and then people in the middle.
Yeah. So yeah, and they have just started here having something for us us double AARP people.
Well, I mean, I know like I'm on the cusp of that, like you young people got it so good, but I mean, I feel really bad for some of my older trans people that I know because I mean, I to live like 50, 60 years, even 40 years, I just denying and going through anything you could do to not be trans. I don't know, man. That I don't know if I could have gone any more longer.
No, and well, it hits you when it hits you. Um, I think it was always low level, and then there was a very quick slide from about December to July when it finally came out.
Hmm. I was mainly referring to the social, because like the reason it took me so long was because the society that I grew up in when I was most impressionable wasn't super accepting of it, but it wasn't, you could explore it, just don't tell anybody. And I couldn't imagine being in a society where don't even explore it, pretend it doesn't exist. Like I
uh,
can't even.
yeah. Um, the well, in the 80s, it was weird because, well, weird is not the word I want. It was rough because anybody who was exploring it around me was dying.
Yeah, I've seen some of the documentaries and stuff that yeah.
um, I think the most telling um, the most telling line I've ever written, which is I still don't know why I fought so hard to be the one unlucky enough to survive.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, when I saw some of the stuff, like, because I like to watch I like to I'm a history buff.
yeah,
So when I saw like even people in New York in the 80s and 70s, if you were walking around trans in New York, you might get killed. In fact, there's a really good chance you might get killed. I was like, could you even imagine what that was like in Alabama or Georgia or Mississippi? Like you wouldn't tell anyone ever.
no. I do have friends who transitioned in the early 90s. Um, one is completely stealth, and good on her. She's doing fine. The other one was activist and is now saying she wishes she wasn't.
Mm,
She wishes she could have just hidden in the background.
mm.
And I get that.
Ooh, I don't know.
The, you know,
Stealth is appealing, but I just don't. I don't know if I could live with myself if I didn't use. I have a particular mentality where I can absorb things, bad things, easier, and it doesn't affect me as much.
right.
So I don't think I could live with myself if I didn't try to help other trans and LGBT people who don't have that luxury.
That's something that's always bothered me and about myself is I have nothing to lose by being out. Nothing. Um, the I'm not I'm in the Horror Writers Association. I'm not the first trans person in it. uh, I, I perform. Um, three of the members of my band are trans.
Wow.
Poor, it just happened that way. When I said things started spiraling, I got invited into a band, and my best and it had a huge trans audience, and it was like, my people. I found my people. And then the band, yeah, I took over the remnants of the band.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I have nothing to lose, and I almost feel guilty for that, which is a strange place to be.
Yeah. I, hmm.
I've often wondered if it's remnants of survivor's guilt from the 80s.
Right. Yeah. because I couldn't even speak to that's can't even contemplate that.
It's I, yeah, it's one of the few things I can do is just be out and be loud.
Yep. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm intelligent. I'm capable. I'm mentally. I can absorb more things than some people can on a emotional level. So I kind of feel like I need to go out there and like get in the office, do something because not everybody has the will, desire, or ability to handle all that pressure, So I kind of want to do something with it.
Yeah, and if you're going to go into politics, you definitely need that. You know, you need the ability to absorb. I we regardless of where we are, we absorb a lot anyway,
Yes.
which our own brain's fighting against us, if nothing else.
I, that was the biggest shock because I had always been like kind of I was a bratty middle class white kid. So I was always kind of like, well, not bratty. I was so smart that I don't know if you've ever met a person, but when a person's really like smart, but not like a genius level, so they're
Yeah,
not smart enough to like just jump out and go be a scientist or something, but they're a lot smarter than the other people. When you're a kid, you're kind of a jerk about it. So I had like strong opinions on things that weren't always right. So like I would be like, like I don't even know if depression's really real. Like doesn't make any sense to me. Like of course complete nonsense. But 16-year-old kid, what are you gonna do? And when I came
yeah,
out, and then I was like, I'm trans, and then I went out in public, and I finally got to be myself. This wall came down, like it like a metaphysical wall, and like I can sing in front of people. I can be myself in front of people. I don't worry about where my hands are.
the hands. Oh God,
Everything was better.
the hands. It's like never do this. Um, Remind yourself, never do this. Never cross your legs this way. Oh God, the performative parts are the hard, are the like. Oh
Oh,
my God, I don't have to ever think about those things again.
right.
Frees up my brain for a lot. Frees up the
I,
brain for a lot of the things.
I like if you were interviewing me and in February, March, April, May. If you're interviewing me in May, I'd be really, really reserved, super reserved. I'd probably answer questions, but like I wouldn't be a lot of animation. I would kind of get really fast and to the point, and probably be kind of boring, to be honest with you. But it's like when that wall went down, it's like I can be a person, and I'm like, this is what people have been doing for 35 years of their life. That's why they have all these internships and jobs and writing books, because they've been able to do this for 35 years. I've been stuck as like a 12-year-old kid for 35 years.
Yeah, that I've never been able to explain it better than that. I, so yeah, male socialization is not something we went through. Something that was avoided.
Yeah, so I have a much stronger uh, sympathy for any type of mental illness now. Like
Yeah,
that, those blocks are real, and you don't know they're there, and you think that's just how you are. Like you fully believe that until it comes down.
well, yeah, the uh, I'm I'm a year and a half in now, so um, there there will and there will probably come up. I mean, again, I talk to everybody, so I find out this is fairly common.
Right.
Um, there is a place where, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. This is really hard. Um, it's just it's a low level whine, but okay. But then I go back and say, think of yourself on July 6th and see what you felt like. What was the day before like?
Oh wow, yeah. Oh, oh, everything's different. I like different movies. I still like my old movies, but where they are and like on liking has changed. I like different music in different ways. Like it's just, everything's different.
I, here's a strange question because this has happened to me, and I've not yet been able to get someone to answer this one. The colors are different. I'm seeing colors differently.
Um, it's not colors, but I did have a so like for the first month or so, I've always been good at like reflexes, like drop something, grab it, like
Right.
turn the head, just grab something without looking, that kind of thing. Conscious of where my body was. For the first like month or so, it's like my depth perception was different. Like my eyes were changing, and
Yes.
like I would like grab something and miss, and then, like it or just drop something, knock it over or something. And it took me like a little bit of time to. I swear my eyes are like different somehow.
It must be. I don't wear glasses anymore. That's one thing.
I when I take my glasses off, my vision really sucks, so I can't see. But it seems better, and it doesn't hurt. My eyes don't like give me headaches as much.
Yeah. The I in neuropsychology, we were always given to understand that the because of the way the old stoner question, how do I know the color blue is the same for you as it is for me?
Yeah, yeah.
We were always given, okay, this is what it looks like in the brain, so yes, it really is the same for everybody, and I'm finding out from experience, fuck no, it isn't.
No, yeah, no. Color is it's not subjective, but the way you see it is depending on your eyes.
Yeah, it's just it's a strange thing. The colors are very different, and I don't it didn't happen until about 4 months in, so it start
Hmm.
happening until about 4 months in. So maybe something you have to look forward to, or maybe not. Maybe it's just some weird fuck up in my own head. Yeah, old crazy cat lady. Yeah. sorry, sorry for using ableist language. Hard to get away from now, from yeah, at a certain age. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I use the word. Uh, oh, me and my friends would call each other like faggots for like ever, like into the like 2006s, and then like it was like a 90s thing, and then like I just kind of said it one time, and I was like, wait, why the what in the world am I saying that for? Like, when did I start saying that? Why is that a thing? And I don't say that anymore.
it's the hardest thing to keep up with is language change, but and everybody one of the one of the stupidest complaints that we get, I think, is Why is all this language different now? Why do I have to learn new stuff? Did your brain just stop at a certain point?
Oh man,
I
yeah.
mean, to me, Google was one with 100 zeros after it. So I was young. It's not.
Oh my god,
I
yeah,
learned the difference.
yeah. Language changes. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. You can come up with a new insult, I promise.
Oh, I'm sure. Just throw some random syllables together and see what happens.
uh, I think with that, we're kind of the trans community. We're kind of in the same place that gay people were at in like a few years ago, like a decade ago or so, where like comedians would like make gay jokes,
Yeah.
and maybe they weren't homophobic, but they would make gay jokes, and people kept telling them, stop doing that. You're belittling an entire community, and the joke's not even that funny. And you're stop. And they finally stopped doing that, and now they just said, okay, we'll do it with trans people, and it's like same thing. Nothing's changed just because you changed the community you targeted.
It's in the same tire. Did this? Did the? Well, they only have the two jokes. One of them's attack helicopter or some version thereof.
Ugh.
it's it's very sad. I mean, yeah, I, I did finally watch that Chappelle
Dave
special.
Chappelle.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah. Wasn't funny at all. I don't know why people are. It's
Uh,
just not funny. Why'd you defend it? Just tell them to make a better joke because it's not even worth telling the joke.
yeah, I mean, none of it was funny, which was surprising. I laughed once near the beginning, a chuckle somewhere in the middle. Actually, thought the L's, the B's, and the G's don't always want the T's in the back seat. I actually thought that was humorous. That got a slight chuckle, and then one chuckle near the end. I don't even remember the joke. Gave him every chance, but nope. It just
Yeah, I
stopped.
watched it and it was kind of like I don't know. It's kind of with me like if something is hilarious and maybe slightly off-putting, but it's so funny it's almost kind of worth it. Eh, I might let it pass.
Sure.
That wasn't funny. Like that was just like you just degraded an entire group of people for a mediocre joke. It wasn't even worth it.
Yeah. The yeah. I don't. I mean, for the jokes we tell between ourselves are much better.
Yeah.
although,
Yeah. Yeah.
although I must admit to being this is hopefully a product of just my age, but I will use the word ending in Y in the house once in a while, just self-deprecatingly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Uh, I mean, yeah. That's almost kind of like the whole black people can say the N word, but other people can't.
yeah,
It's kind of how it works. It's like you can't do it because when you say it, it legitimizes a bad thing. We know we're not legitimizing anything between ourselves.
yeah, pretty much. the my I live with my ex-wife and her fiance and my kid and his significant other. The rescue was my kid's significant other. Um, and I should stop calling them the rescue. That's really awful.
I
Rescue
mean,
trans.
A lot of
Now
people need it.
it's yeah, but I use the word around my ex-wife and she goes and she freaks out. It's like, I said it about myself in my house. I'm all right with it.
I mean, to be fair, that word was created by the porn industry, I believe,
uh,
and they have pretty much degrading names for like everything that exists. Come
I
on.
I'm gonna have to go look it up now. This is the
They're the one that uses it the most, at least.
yeah, yes. I have yeah, I know somebody came in, there was a sex there, how do I put this without telling people's stories here or giving people's stories away. Um, a person in the porn industry um, came into the room wearing a shirt that said that and was like, "Oh, we will not be having that now." No, I have some limits on things. She's perfectly entitled to the word, and she certainly does good work. It was, yeah. Um, I'm going to stop this line of thinking before I go any further. the, um, you, anyway, we are slightly, yeah, we've actually passed an hour, which is like, I wasn't sure because when I'm meeting someone new, I'm like, I'm not sure if we get along online. So I figured we'd probably get along on face. the the surprise the surprise is always just seeing what someone looks like first. Oh,
Yeah.
well, you're pretty. So oh, you are.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
I'm not using that in a derogatory way. I'm just, I, but and I wouldn't say someone if they weren't either. That's weird.
Oh yeah, yeah.
um, but I want to thank you for doing this. This was very last minute, and I was kind of scrambling because my December is not well booked. And I'm trying to do this regularly because the freaking YouTube algorithm is what it is.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of YouTube stuff, and I've seen people complain about that.
Yeah. The So I really very much appreciate it. You coming, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me. And yeah, I made a better friend than I had before, which I'm happy. I'm happy about. So, um, I gotta do what they call the YouTube prayer before what I call the YouTube prayer before we go. So,
All right.
uh, so audience, if you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up down there. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. I'm coming out with new content every Tuesday and every other Friday. I'm probably going to start filling up those extra Fridays with scripted content finally. But uh, definitely there's a PayPal down below for one-time donations, and there is a Patreon if you want to actually tell me that you love me. Please tell me that you love me. I need it. my own mental health. I need affirmation. Um,
So important.
it is so important. Meantime, thank you again. Say good night to the audience. Good night to the, yeah, it'll be night when this actually goes out.
Uh, Thanks, everybody.
And good night from me. And your life matters, your voice matters, and you matter. Thank you for watching.